Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Agent Factory, the podcast that goes beyond the hype and dives into building production ready AI agents. I'm Smita Kolan, and today's episode is super exciting. By the end of this episode, you will learn how to build your own agentic content creation workflow, learn how to use Antigravity to vibe code your very own application, and also learn about some of the best Google AI tools. To answer this, I'm joined by Kushank Aggarwal, better known as Digital Samaritan, a creator and entrepreneur who has built an incredible community around using AI to be more productive, build businesses, and work smarter. He will also be sharing his very own AI playbook with us. Kushank, welcome to the Agent Factory.
Hi, Smita. Thanks for having me. So, we're very lucky to be invited onto this podcast. So, it's an honor for me.
Okay, awesome. We are so excited that you've joined us as well. So Kushank, for people who don't know you yet, give us a 60-second version of, who you are, what you do, and then why AI.
I would call myself a creator entrepreneur. So, I started creating content about AI tools back in 2020. And I like to see tools like, technology, tools, and AI as a way to bridge the skill gap and the time gap. And that's how the whole journey started, me being a generalist in my career, and how I leverage these tools to actually get promotions in my own career, like within 6 months of joining a company. So I started just sharing these tools with other people and how they can help them. My username in 2020 was called Digital Samaritan, and only recently it hit me why it was called Digital Samaritan and how it all makes sense. Now, my mission is to actually educate 1 billion people a year for free because I feel like education should be human right. If the technology is transformational enough that it's going to change everyone's lives, I think people have deserve the right to learn it for free.
I love your mission on ensuring that as many people as possible get access to AI education. And I think that's what we're trying to do here today as well. So let's start off with some exciting news in the AI space so a lot of people can catch up with what's been happening, especially with the latest Google launches, along with Andrej Karpathy's AutoResearcher and OpenClaw, which has been blowing up lately.
Yeah, for sure. Excited to hear all about it.
First up, and Kushank, I think this one's going to hit close to home for you. Google just rolled out major new Gemini capabilities directly into Docs, Sheets, Slides, and Drive. We're talking about AI that can help you draft documents, analyze spreadsheet data, and then create presentations, and intelligently search across your entire drive all natively right where you already work. So it's not a separate AI app that you have to go to. It's baked into the tools that billions of people already use every day. Kushank, you talk a lot about workflows and productivity. What does this mean for an average entrepreneur or creator?
I think this means massive adoption for people who've been on the sidelines for a very long time or people who feel overwhelmed with which tool do I use? Is this one better or this one better? Like how many tools there are out there? Like which one do I even start with? And every time I tell them, you don't have to even worry about the tools. You look into the problem that you're trying to solve. If you're trying to save time or you're trying to bridge a skill gap and see if there's a tool that exists to do that. And I think like the biggest challenge for any adoption of technology has always been like change of behavior. That take decades. And how fast the technology is moving for people like who are not at the forefront of it, they don't have decades to like sit on the sidelines and trying to wait and then catch up to it. Having AI available in the workflows they already are part of, the work they do in Google Docs and spreadsheets or there's Google Slides or like even Google Drive. I think that actually enables them to start experiencing the power of AI that can be brought into their workflows and then kind of go from there. So I think it's a great way, great push from the team to build that or like bring that experience natively into the products. So that doesn't change the behavior, but still really like hopefully has a wow factor for those folks who are experiencing that for the first time. And then they can like really take a leap from there and start exploring their own path with AI.
Exactly. And I think the key insight that you mentioned here is that the best AI is the AI that you don't even have to think about using. It's just there. And then now let's zoom out beyond Google for a second, because the broader AI ecosystem has been on fire lately. Two things I wanted to highlight. First, Andrej Karpathy created and released AutoResearcher. an
Mhm.
open source tool that can, autonomously research any topic, find papers, do findings, generate research reports. Think about what that means, right? Like a task that used to take a PhD student's weeks can now be done in minutes. But actually, what sets it apart from a regular research agent is that it can recursively improve itself. So it can modify its model, test itself, and then keep improvements. So you can let it run and log experiments to see, what the agent has improved or identified.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think again, it's one of those great equalizers out there for people who are non-technical. Like the way I see it, like no one has to go. I mean, obviously there's benefits. There's so many benefits of it. But if your goal is to solely like train a model that is specific to your industry or vertical or your niche, you don't need permission. Like if you're willing to learn like how that technology works, the auto researcher, the capability is there. You're able to fine tune a model, train a model by itself. Obviously, the research project is on a small scale. With the number of the compute that you could actually use it on. But theoretically, the concept is there for you to start fine tuning your own models without having any technical experience, which is where you can start like really bringing in the power of AI into those niche verticals and use cases or businesses that could really be empowering, like communities.
And then along those same lines, there's OpenClaw, which has been blowing up in the AI community. It's the open source operating system for AI agent, a tool that turns your favorite LLM into a proactive assistant that can manage your files, emails, and even your terminal. OpenClaw's power comes from its directory based skill system. So, a skill in agentic terms is essentially a folder that contains a skill.md file that tells the agent how to use a specific tool. Kushank, when you see things like this, an open source tool that gives anyone superpowers, what goes in your mind as someone who teaches people how to use AI?
So it's going to be a little against the grain, the answer to this question. I would say for people to like not just buy into the hype right away. And the reason I say is that, okay, OpenClaw, amazing technology, lots of possibilities, lots of things you can do. But a lot of people feel like scared or intimidated with everything that's happening and how fast everything is happening. They just want to jump onto like, oh, agents can do this. I'm going to build this stuff. They don't even understand. Like, I think if you have not built simple AI workflows, like started connecting multiple tools together to orchestrate how AI works, there's no real value you're going to get once you get into that agentic side of things. So my take would be like you first start learning how to connect these tools and you see what are things you can accomplish with simple AI workflows before you start jumping into like agentic platforms or agentic frameworks like OpenClaw. A very simple example would be, I know like this is a very small use case of OpenClaw. Obviously, people are using it for like their daily like planner and stuff. Like to have their stuff coming from their calendar, their emails, summarizing what to respond, prioritization, all that stuff. That could happen with a simple prompt in Google Workspace Studio as a simple automation that would live inside your Gmail account. It's all safe and private. So my take would be it's great, but you can't just like if you're just learning how to ride a bike, you can't just get into like a Formula One race car right away. So as much as crazy the technology is getting, you need to like take the steps to get there before like without and not just like jump directly into it just because everyone says you can build businesses that can run automatically on it. Technically possible, but it takes a lot more experience, especially for non-technical people, to get to the level, or else they feel frustrated and then they get into like this feeling that everyone's hyping up AI and it doesn't really work the same way it's advertised.
Yeah, I like your take on that, especially if your use case does not particularly require something like OpenClaw. You could, as you said, use something like Google Workspace with your Gmail, connecting it to that. I think that's something that a lot of people overlook for sure. And I think this connects to a bigger trend we're seeing, which is, AI is becoming less about can you build it and more about do you know what to build and how to use it. So, with that said, Kushank, I know you have some exciting demos for us. Walk us through how you use AI in your day to day as a creator and entrepreneur. So, what does Digital Samaritan's AI workflow actually look like?
So I'll start with the one we just talked about. So I have a couple automations set up in my Google Workspace Studio. One of them just being this one, where every morning I have like just summary of the emails that are unread and prioritization of which ones I need to respond to. So that would be a very easy one for anyone to set up if they need to, as a way to organize themselves. A lot of the work that I have to do is around the research. So, what are the questions people are asking? What are the things people need help with? What's happening in the space? So, I have a few like AI workflows set up in that space. So, one of them pretty much like, would go into Reddit, into like 20, 25 different subreddits, which I'm interested in exploring, and will extract me the questions people are asking, the topics which are trending or might trend, and then like basically do the entire report on it. So that's how I sometimes like get my content ideas. The other one is basically looking into the conversations happening on X. I think that's where everything is launched for the first time. Most of the conversations that are, before it really gets trending, starts happening over there. So that's another way where I use AI to do a lot of research on the platform and just like proactively bring me all those reports to me, so I can just be on top of things that are happening and really align my content alongside that. Then we're trying to scale my content up. So obviously, if I want to, teach a billion people a year, I can't do it with just me. I'm the bottleneck. So we're also using my avatar in a couple of my channels, like not always, but sometimes. So that's one way we're scaling up the content as well. And I really like using Google Gemini for video review. So I think Gemini, I could be wrong here, is one of the only models right now that could actually analyze videos. You upload a video, you can like, what I do is like I would upload the draft of my video, and I would ask it to review that video against my strategy, for one, to tell me if that video, the topic, how I'm saying it, what I'm saying actually aligns with my content strategy. Two, to give me feedback on the video, like what are the points in the script that could have like retention drop offs. How is my hook? How does it compare with the two drafts if I'm submitting, and like which one's better from audience perspective? So I use Gemini a lot for that aspect as well. And we've been creating a lot of infographics as well, just because we're seeing infographics is a very good way for very heavy educational content. And obviously, Nano Banana can't be beaten at that. So what we do is like we have trained like Gemini onto a certain style. So we have uploaded a bunch of like reference infographics onto Gemini and ask it to learn from that and then turn that into a gem. So it's a way for us to start reproducing on the same style repeatedly with more consistency, and it's faster for anyone on the team to run it. Now, every time we have a new topic, we just upload our content into that gem, and we have our infographic that is ready to go. We're using that gem. So yeah, I mean, those are a few initial workflows that comes to mind right off the bat as you talk about how you use AI every day.
Yeah, I love hearing that, especially on using Gemini to analyze your videos. I think that's a super cool idea, and it's quite niche. I've not seen a lot of people talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, beside all the work, I think one of the cool features that Gemini has is a live interaction feature. It's so funny. So many times, like when I'm talking to my mom, I'm catching up with her. I do it like while I'm cooking my dinner. So sometimes I will be like, "Hey, mom, I'll call you back in like 5 minutes." And when I hang up on her, I actually like video call with Gemini, and be Gemini be like, "Hey, Gemini, how does like do these mushrooms look okay? Are these edible if they've been sitting in the fridge for a while, or like are these green peppers okay?" So, or what should I do with this? Like, I don't have like Parmesan cheese. Which kind of cheese should I put in this recipe? So I like talking to Google Gemini. I like video call a lot. It's kind of weird, but it is quite useful. We helped fix my brother's car battery problem one time too, just with that approach.
Now, Kushank, let's actually jump into anti-gravity. We talked a lot about building an AI application that can help people learn AI through YouTube. And let's see if we can actually build that application out using anti-gravity.
That's awesome. Yeah, we've been building on this platform internally to basically educate our community for free, like a free course platform. So let's see what we can cook up here with Antigravity.
Awesome. You mentioned that you would want to build an AI platform which uses existing YouTube videos because, as you said, YouTube has great educational content. It's just not structured the best way for learning. So we could try doing something with that.
Yeah. I mean, we could, if you want to be meta, we could try building a course to teach anti-gravity using anti-gravity. So that'll be funny.
Help me build a website which makes use of existing YouTube videos to create a course like website to help users learn how to use anti-gravity.
I love how everyone's like using voice now to interact with the computers. I feel like the future of like our human computer interaction is like voice input and screen output. Um, and I just like everyone's doing this now, so it's like it's finally happening.
I remember I was vibe coding also on a podcast, and I was typing out my prompt and it was just taking too long. So I was like, okay, let me just jump into voice mode. And I notice I do that too just in regular Gemini chats. Sometimes you have a lot to say and it's just better said in a voice input.
I even do that with like all my communication with my team as well, like Slack messages and all that stuff. It's all pretty much voice being transcribed.
Okay.
So, how do you approach building something in anti-gravity? Do you start with like a plan first, or is anti-gravity starting with the plan, or is it go straight into execution?
Yeah, so it really depends. Oftentimes, when I'm building demos, I have a plan in mind. And even the plan that I generate, I've worked with Gemini previously to fine tune that plan. I'm building out a demo for Google Next. So I've fine tuned a really good plan to make use of like different Google services. And then if I want to use anti gravity, I pass that plan to it. So just starting with a prompt, I've done that too, but I think that's for like more simpler applications. But I like having a plan to give to it beforehand. But at the same time, like we gave a super simple generic prompt and
Yeah,
it came up with a really great plan.
that's awesome.
So it has created an implementation plan for an anti-gravity course website. So the plan proposes to use React, CSS, and then before we begin building, it has two quick questions. So you have specific YouTube URLs you want me to use, or should I create the structure with placeholder videos for now? And I think I don't necessarily have any YouTube videos in mind yet, so I would just ask it to proceed.
Makes sense. I guess that would be the part of the course that where the value is added, right? The curation of those videos that would actually
Yeah.
build the course really well.
And I'm hoping that it can identify and search for those videos by itself.
Yeah, it'll be funny to see how far it can go, even without being mentioned in the prompt. If it's like really understanding the intent, the overall intent here, which can be quite tricky, but we're getting there sooner than we think. I don't know about you, but I feel the like the future of resumes is like not your job description, but like the .md files and the skills that you bring that is based on your experience and like what work you have done with the company, whichever company you go to.
I think skills have truly transformed how people are looking at agents. And now I'm hearing people talk about skills versus MCPs. They're often using it as a replacement in some sense. And I think it also depends on like you don't want to overload your agent at the same time. I'm a bit apprehensive. Like you don't want to give skills, you don't want to give MCPs, and then on top of that, there's context as well that other people
Yeah,
add on. So there's a lot that you're adding into that context window. But I think skills, if structured correctly, they're a game changer. Do you feel like anti-gravity is enough for maybe someone who does not have coding experience to go out there and build like an end-to-end service, for example?
yeah, for sure. Like even just this morning, Google launched new updates to Google Stitch, where you type your prompt and you have your design. You have multiple different design directions, and based on the one you want, you have your whole website and everything being laid out for you. Which I actually even prefer, like for anyone who's not technical, to have a visual layout of how everything looks and feel, and you can even apply a design system with a single prompt. So once you have all your design systems within a like Google ecosystem, I think it would just be obvious next steps to bring that all to Antigravity, which I also mentioned in my video, just because it can automatically pull everything and build a platform out for you. So I think just like the whole ecosystem advantage that you get with Antigravity is going to be massive.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen so many people actually build like end-to-end systems, whether it's it could be like a system which is like nothing to do with AI, not agentic in any term. It could be a SaaS that they're trying to build, and they've done a pretty good job with just starting with a simple prompt, no plan in mind, and then they
Mhm.
can easily deploy from Antigravity to Google Cloud services like Cloud Run or GKE. So it's super easy and convenient.
Exactly. And once everything's all there, it's all authenticated already. You don't have to worry about all that. Everything is going to happen with prompts. And then the workflows with the whole Google Workspace, I'm sure it's going to be all natively integrated too, if they are not already. For the UI, like, are you using any skills right now for UI in your setup in your IDE?
No skills. Completely like this was a bare bone, just empty directory I created just before.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question for you. I mean, I know, like, I talk to a lot of people, and people still feel apprehensive when they see or hear things like, anti-gravity or Cloud Code or Codex as an example, and even this interface. People are comfortable with just like a prompt window and nothing else. It's just like everything is blank. Do you have any, like, with you working on the Google team, any tips for people who are not technical, who could actually like feel less intimidated when they see these interfaces?
I cannot completely understand because anti-gravity, of course, it has an IDE UI. So I think right off the bat, even with just this right section, which is, you're having a conversation, you would have to deal with your, code files at the end of the day. I also have to suggest Google AI Studio as an alternative because I
Mm,
felt that for someone who does not have any coding experience,
yeah.
that could be something to start off from, and then maybe you could progress to anti-gravity when after you pick up some stuff. Because I feel like with anti-gravity, there there's definitely going to be some instances where you would eventually have to go into these files and take a look at what's happening. If you're going to make some changes, you can obviously prompt it, but I personally, as a developer, I would want some level of control on what I'm building.
Yeah.
So I prefer this, but I've played around with Google AI Studio so much, and I feel like for non-developers, that's a game changer,
Oh,
especially because it has a visual UI that you can go in and make changes to, no code necessary.
that's a great point. That's exactly, I guess, where the question was leading. Google AI Studio makes a good start because it's just as a prompt window. People can type in the prompt, they can see their idea come to life. And as you get comfortable, you have the rush going. Like how runner gets like runner high. I think with like vibe coding too, after a certain stage, you get that like vibe coding high. So you want to like you just get really into it. And now you want to actually want to learn because you're understanding bits of it. Not everything is completely new anymore. You know what's going on, so it's a good transition from there on to like moving a project over to anti-gravity and really build it out. And like, yeah, at the same time, like sometimes, like you said, it's just faster to make changes by just going into the code versus like prompting it to make change and not have it run through the entire code again.
Okay, so I'm sorry I have to interrupt because anti-gravity just okay, this is the website it built out for us, and we got rickrolled.
We got
It's
rickrolled.
absolutely did not include this in the prompt whatsoever. I just found it funny. But okay, it's changing the videos. So was that just
I think these are for different chapters, right? So
yeah,
just
it's a different
like,
chapter. But what was that video initially? That was funny. Um the fact that this was from a single prompt, I think this is insane. This looks great.
we can navigate to the next lesson from the button.
Okay, I think it's still running some stuff, so oh okay.
There we go. We can. Um, Yeah, see, this is what I mean. Like, this is the incredible part. Like, this is why I feel like, even though like my goal still feels uncomfortable to say it out loud, like, like educating a billion people, but the fact that we have the technology, and if technology is like good enough to do so many things, it should be good enough to help us teach a billion people for free. That's like kind of like my thesis here. And like stuff like this is thrilling.
This is yeah, this is amazing. And I think we could definitely do better prompting for it to get resources from YouTube regarding anti-gravity. Also, very new topic. I think it's pretty niche in terms of like the volume of videos which are available. Maybe if we had asked for generate a course on learning HTML, I think these videos would be more
For
spot
sure.
on. But yeah, this is a great starting point actually.
Question for you related to anti-gravity. So I know part of the reason, like a prompt was very simple, but if we were to prompt it to actually go do the research and build out the course curriculum, and then input that into the this course builder, would you say you can do that within anti-gravity, or would you recommend doing that in Gemini first and bringing that information over to anti-gravity?
I think both. Depends on what you're comfortable with.
Okay.
If you want to make it more, I feel like a more back and forth conversation, especially on the course structure. I think Gemini, by nature, it's easier to chat in that user interface. So I think you could start there and then post all of that prompt into anti gravity. But all of that you could also do. You could create like a researcher agent within
Hmm.
anti-gravity first to go and do research on that course that you want to create and then go forth and build the website.
That's even better. Researcher agent, so it will do the job for all future courses too.
Yeah. Yeah, you could and turn that into a skill.md file and there there you go.
You don't even have to tell it twice.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. I think this was a really cool demo. And Kushank, I know you have a couple more demos for us, so let's jump in.
So here, like in Gemini, which I don't know why a lot of people don't know, maybe just Google team has to do, like has to market this a lot more, but you can actually upload videos. I think it can accept like, a bunch of different files. And what I can do here, like what I usually do is I would upload my video and I just say like, can you please review this video and tell me if this aligns with my strategy? Also look into drop off points in the video, either in the script or the editing, and tell me what are the chances this will go viral, and also extract the transcript. So I'm pretty much like giving it a bunch of different like tasks in a single prompt that requires it to actually go frame by frame, like understand what's happening in this video that I'm uploading here. So let's see what happens here. So here we can see the reasoning. It's analyzing the video's viability. It's refining my content pillars, which are like in my document, which I've added. So it's actually looking at the sources. So this is my document that I've uploaded into this chat with my strategy. And it's going through the sources to picking up what it needs to review against when I say like, tell me if this aligns with my strategy. And here we have the feedback, the strategic alignment review, the voice analyst, the audience appeal, the emotion, the pillar fit. Then it talks about the potential drop-off points. It talks about the promising phase and the Figma comparison. And then it talks about the viral potential, which is 8 out of 10. Not bad. And then actually gives me the entire script as well. So again, it always blows my mind how it's just able to like, I don't know, understand the frames or extract frames, text from the frames. Even if I have like no transcription, like no transcript or captions on the video, it still does incredible job at extracting exactly what's happening in the video frame by frame. And what I then like doing is I would take the transcript. So I've been trying to grow on LinkedIn now. I think something I need to do to basically accomplish my mission. A lot of people who are in the white collar job space and they don't want to scroll internet anymore. They don't want to scroll the social media, but they do scroll LinkedIn because it's like an acceptable app to scroll from work perspective. So I want to grow on LinkedIn, and I'm very new to LinkedIn. So to do that, what I did was I built a notebook. So in my notebook, I basically asked it to research first all the sources that would teach me how do you like even create content on LinkedIn, because every platform works a different way. I understand TikTok and Instagram really well. I've been doing it for 5 years, but I don't have that experience on LinkedIn, and I don't want to wait for 5 years to learn all those things. I want to basically like use the experience people have who have created content on LinkedIn. I've talked about it, and piggyback off of that to actually help me create better content. So here we can see there's like bunch of different sources that we have extracted, which is going to help us create our LinkedIn strategy and growth for this year. We built this last year, so it talks about 2025, 2026. If I go here, these are the presentations. I was able to turn the entire strategy into presentation as well. So my team, I can just share this with my team as well, so they know what they need to do. It talks about the format protocol matrix and like the content compiler engine. Again, this is all coming from the data which has been shared by the experts. Now, what I can just do is I can basically just go here and I can just ask it to, hey, can you please help me turn my video script into LinkedIn post based on these strategies. And I'll just paste my video transcript, which is a workflow now because I use Gemini to extract the transcript once the video is done, and I will just give it to this strategy document here, and this will turn that into a LinkedIn post. Another option is, I could also just stay right here within my Gemini, and I can just use Notebook as a way and just connect that notebook here and just chat with the notebook right inside my Gemini interface. So there's like multiple ways you can interact with it, but I just wanted to show you like the power of NotebookLM if you're trying to learn something new. That could be very, very useful. And now I have like this LinkedIn post. I can just use Nano Banana further on to create that visual as well. So the whole content engine is essentially residing within Gemini app.
This is amazing. First off, you talked about video understanding through Gemini, and I think that was a huge unlock. And then seeing how you've used Notebook LM to do extensive research to come up with your LinkedIn playbook for 2025, 2026 is amazing. I think I have to copy some of your tips for sure. And I think especially the video understanding aspect is, yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, no, that's one of my favorite features of Gemini for sure. I know we talked about Antigravity, but I don't know if you noticed, but Google just announced a bunch of updates to their platform, Google Stitch, which is incredible for anyone who actually wants to vibe code. Because the way I like to start is to like start with the design first, and once I have my design in, then I'll just take it to Antigravity to build it out. Just because I know exactly how things look, which is what we talked about, how a lot of beginners could actually start approaching. So let me just show you a quick demo of how I like using Google Stitch. So I'll just type in what I want to build. In this case, a course platform for learning AI. I want it to be called Vibe Teaching, and we'll have a bunch of courses, and people should be able to track their progress. So I'm just going to type my prompt here in Google Stitch, and we have this like infinite canvas.
I've not really played around with Google Stitch that much, so this is super exciting. And
Uh,
is
we,
this exclusively a design tool, but you could you also build backends with it?
no, just design and prototyping, interactive prototypes.
Awesome.
Okay, I think it's waiting for my response,
I mean, this would have taken a designer a couple of weeks.
and now we can't even wait for 2 minutes.
Yeah. Did you give any direction for the color scheme?
No,
Or okay. So this is all something that it has determined based on just your prompt about the type of website you want to build.
just the vibes,
Okay.
which is like the new feature they have here. So you can pretty much like you can build your design system, and your design system will be applied to the whole design automatically. Which again, designers on Figma would have to spend a lot of time building the design systems.
Oh, this looks great. Wow.
Okay, here we have it. Here's our design system, and this is the first version of our Vibe learning platform or Vibe teaching platform, where we're going to teach people AI for free. So we have screens for pretty much our homepage. So with a bunch of courses filtered by beginners, machine learning, generative art, ethics. Then we have mastering generative architecture. So it gives you a breakdown of what single page looks like. It's giving me very like Coursera vibes as well. So it's pretty professional. And yeah, here's what the design looks like. So when I'm working on any new ideas, like I just like exploring the design first before I even jump in. So it just gives me an idea of what it could even look like, and if it makes sense to what I'm trying to build and not, and just like run it by my team, and then really go further from there. So I like using Stitch just to like ideate a lot of things when I'm trying to build.
Do you think that how would you take this further? Would you put this into something like anti-gravity or yeah, how would you work further on this?
Essentially. So I mean, if I'm happy with the design, what I will do is, let me see what the options are now. They have changed the UI from last time I checked.
Oh, it's so cool that the first option is to export directly to AI Studio.
So yeah, so I will just select the files, and I could just export this to AI Studio, Figma, or just like to yeah, basically any platform I want.
I've loved everything you've shared so far. Let's go deeper on something. I know you care a lot about Kushank. There's this narrative that AI is going to take jobs, replace people, etc. But you seem to have a very different perspective. You talk about AI, and you've talked about AI, especially in our introduction here, as a multiplier. So unpack that for us.
Yeah, so I think the jobs, the way they were before, will change a little bit. Like what I mean by that is like a designer's job was before to like, you get some requirements and you're spending most of your time just like perfecting your pixels. You're spending most of your time like just perfecting, like what color you should have and like changing the color across like multiple different files and different elements and stuff. All that stuff now happens in seconds. So your job as a designer was to like make decisions, do critical thinking, which is where I feel like most of the jobs will remain, where you're actually doing the critical thinking work and all the grunt work is just being delegated to AI tools for the tasks that are actually for the tasks that we have proven AI can actually do better than humans and faster, of course. So that's one way to think about it. To me, the future would be like you get subject matter expertise in any topic you're interested in, and you leverage AI to like multiply the work that you have to do in that subject matter expertise. So combination of like AI literacy along with the subject matter expertise, I think that's going to be the powerful combo for anyone who wants to succeed in their career. If you say like it's taking away jobs, like layoffs are happening, all this news, I agree. But those are the layoffs for, again, I could be wrong here, for the people who are not building the AI native skills. I can still see massive hiring happening for people who are AI native because everyone wants to hire those folks. I mean, I want to hire those folks on my team as we're hiring too, even though we use AI so much, just because we are living in a accelerating world right now, and things are just being built faster, they're being shipped faster, and for that we need like a combination of like AI and humans.
And then to add to that, what's the biggest mistake you see people often making when they try to use AI for business?
I think one of the biggest mistakes I've seen people make is they're trying to compare the capabilities of AI by using the models in the free plan. So the free plan models are like what AI was 2023, what the pro models were in 2023, 2024. I think to really understand the capability of what AI can do is to experience that on the paid plans. So like, Gemini 3.1 versus like Gemini 2.5 Flash. I could be wrong here with my naming and for the free plan tiers, but just across like the whole AI ecosystem, like spending like just like an hour a day and like paying for just one tool a month can actually unlock so much value that people actually take granted for, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think there's also something really interesting about, for example, the intersection of AI and personal brand, which you've built an incredibly well personal brand. So how has AI changed how you think about, content and also building an audience?
Yeah, no, I would say it's a scalability aspect of it. Like I said in my introduction, my channel was called Digital Samaritan in 2020. I had no idea why it was called that, but it finally added meaning. Like it finally has a meaning now to me, and part of the reason is it's AI. The only reason I can even dare to dream about like teaching a billion people a year is because I know I can leverage AI to scale all that up through research, content creation, and all the operations that needs to happen behind the scenes, like building out a course platform that's going to be free. We wouldn't be able to offer that for free if we have to spend like so many if we have to hire people to build those things out for us, that was going to take months. But the fact that we can build that platform out in a day and ship it the next day, add all the content to it, we have the capabilities, and that's the only way we can actually get to our goal of educating a billion people a year.
Kushank, let's have some fun. Rapid fire round. I'll give you a statement. You tell me agree, disagree, or it's complicated. And then you'll also give me a reason why. Okay. So
Should I
let's,
be nervous? Should I be nervous?
nothing to be nervous about. Okay.
Okay.
First, need to learn to code in order to succeed with AI.
Yes and no. If your job is going to be technical, yes. If your job is not going to be technical, absolutely no.
AI will make social media content all look the same.
Yes. I mean, not even just AI. I mean, right now, with how much technology is out there to find the topics that are doing well, people are like, just yesterday, I saw 6 different videos that were copying my video, like word by word. I call it human slop. But yes,
The best business to start right now is an AI business.
nope. I would start anything that is not AI, but can leverage AI to increase like the bottom line.
Google Workspace with Gemini is the ultimate productivity hack.
Yes, and there's a reason I have a whole channel about Gemini because I'm bullish on that.
In 5 years, every small business will have some form of AI agents running various tasks.
Yes. It's like how every small business, no matter what, they have a website, even though they use it or not. I mean, from a similar lens, we can think of it that every business is going to start having agentic workflows behind the scenes. There's going to be people servicing those businesses to build it out for them, but they will have to do it if they just want to like be efficient at what they do. And with the competition and capitalism, if someone else is doing it, some other people would have to do it.
AI tools are overhyped. The real magic is in the workflow.
Yes. As we talked about earlier, a lot of people start chasing the tools. I would start with the problems first and just look at the tools you already have access to. For example, you might not know all the tools, AI capabilities you have access to within your docs, email, and all that stuff, and just start building workflows from there.
Okay, love these takes. Okay, one final question, and I think this might be the hardest one. What's the one AI tool or feature you could never give up?
Ooh, research. Just able to like crawl so many different data sources and like bring all that things together. So deep research would be one for sure.
Kushank, this has been one of my favorite episodes because I think we proved something really important today. You don't need to be a developer in order to build with AI. You need curiosity, you need a problem with solving, and you need to be willing to experiment. And you embody all of that. So thank you so much for coming onto the Agent Factory.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was fun.
For everyone watching, go follow Kushank at Digital Samaritan on YouTube and Instagram. Links are in the description below. If you learned something today, subscribe to us on Google Cloud Tech, drop a comment telling us your favorite AI productivity hack, and share this episode with someone who needs to hear that they can build with AI too. Keep building, keep experimenting, and remember the best AI agent is the one that helps you ship. Powering
I
down.
wouldn't